Didn't expect to cover it on the channel, but here we are. Let's talk about K-pop demon hunters. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now, believe me, no one is more surprised than I am that I'm covering this film. Well, things sometimes happen that you don't foresee, and this has been building up for some time because I'm someone who likes to watch some YouTube channels that are about charts, not only box office charts, but also, what's popular, even in the streaming sphere at any given time. And K-pop demon hunters over the past month or since whenever it was released has been gaining a lot of traction. By now, I believe it is the #1 animated film on Netflix of all time. It might even become the biggest movie in general of all time on Netflix. It's quite possible. It is, in those terms, really, really massive. It's incredibly popular and there's a lot of buzz surrounding it. It was not on my radar, I was like, okay, yeah, fine. I mean, I like to watch animated stuff, etc. But as someone who, doesn't listen to K-pop, I am not familiar with it at all. It's like, probably not for me, right? But after all this happened and people were saying, you should check it out, I was like, okay, I'll plunge into it, let's see what happens, right? And I must admit, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. So I'm still not a big K-pop fan, so I might not get all of the things that the film is, covering or even trying to jab some fun at, etc. But nonetheless, it was a really, really fun time. Yes, very unexpected. I mean, it is a really massive film. I mean, it cost $100 million, so it's not like it was a cheap film, but it's obviously, like I say, gaining a lot of success, and I feel it is warranted. So, before we talk about various things in detail, let's talk about the plot. What is this film about? Obviously, the title itself tells you pretty much actually what the film is about. It's about K-pop and it's about demons, and specifically people who hunt them. Right, but to give it a bit more backstory, so there is this demon world. It's like a sort of parallel dimension, I suppose you can call it. These demons have the goal to come to Earth to suck out everyone's souls, and over time this group of hunters developed who can produce a sort of protective shield that covers the Earth. It's called the humour. And yes, it's done by singing. So by using your vocal cords, you create this sort of protective barrier for humanity. As time evolved, obviously popular music is something that came into being, and it makes a lot of sense, of course, that you would sort of combine the two so that you would have, in this case, a K-pop band. I mean, this whole thing, the story itself is located in Korea, so we are in South Korea specifically, so that's why we've got to do with K-pop here. So that is a basic thing, the premise that we're starting with. It's really quite cool because, as my understanding, they've tied it to a lot of Korean sort of mythological elements, so that is quite cool. So it's not something that they just came up with out of the blue. I always prefer these things, I mean, unless they're really, really well done. But I think it's very cool if you can make reference to something that already exists, and you can use it to sort of tell a new story. Yes, anyway, so as far as the plot is concerned, we've got this trio of singers. They've got a band called Huntrix. So during the day, as it were, they sing in this band, help maintain this protective barrier, or rather, they're working towards sort of creating the ultimate version of it, to hopefully forever protect it without the demons being able to pick holes in this barrier. And during the night, they're hunting demons with weapons and all sorts of stuff. Now, the demons have been sort of losing the battle, so they can feel that there's an impending loss, coming to them. And the demon lord, he receives a suggestion from one of his minions, who says, "Let me take a group of 4 guys up to the surface, and we'll try and pick at these hunters. We'll make a K-pop band, you know, we'll try to pick at their psyche and try and get them to sort of distrust each other, etc, etc. So they're trying to break them apart, as it were, right? Demon Lord agrees because he's got no other options, and so we then have this rival K-pop band made out of boys, 5 of them, who, as my understanding, present a lot of cliches about the this K-pop world. They've all got, you know, silky smooth skin and all sorts of hairdos and looks, etc. Again, I'm not familiar with K-pop, but it's my understanding that this is more or less a requirement in some way, shape or form, you know, in this world, because it's kind of expected of performers there. Anyway, so we've got this rivalry building up, and this is what the film is about. So we've got this rivalry between these 2 bands, because the boys, they gain more and more success, and obviously girls don't like it, and they at one point even find out they're demons, so obviously that fuels it even more. And yeah, we've got the various things that also add to the story. I'm not going to mention them because it would be spoilers. That also sort of mix it up a bit. So if this sounds a bit like sort of very one-sided or very boring or something, there are definitely more elements in here that spice up the plot, as it were. But that is the basic gist of it, right? So again, I'm not a K-pop fan. I don't think I ever will be. At the same time, that, you know, did not have any impact on my enjoyment of the film, because, and this is something you really have to laud them for, the quality of the music. Even if you're not a fan of the type of music, but you can tell that the quality of the music is very high. So they made the wise move to involve real musicians who came up with various songs. And you've also got real musicians who actually sang the songs, etc. And it ties into the story, not just thematically, because the lyrics quite often actually have got to do with something that is happening right in the moment in the film, or something that definitely ties into the story, etc. But the music itself, like I say, is just of high quality, and I'm sure they will be stuck in people's heads, you know, for some time at least, or they might turn them into fans even of the music itself. Very wise move, especially in a film that is about music, you know, and making music. So that is a very brilliant move. I think tying it in and sort of expanding the whole thing, making it into a more multimedia experience, I think is a very, very wise move. The film cost 100 million, so it wasn't exactly dollars. It wasn't exactly cheap, but I feel that they definitely got their money's worth here, because they just produced a really, really good product. So musically, like I say, while not a fan of the music itself, really high quality and very enjoyable. You know, just to see it being performed was rather enjoyable. And they also have them at some really dramatic moments in the film, and it's being, how should I say, the plot or the scene or whatever happening while the music is there and actively being used to enhance the moment. It really changes a lot. So they have really thought about how they're going to use music to, you know, make your experience of watching the film better. You know, the really dramatic moments are really just completely enhanced by it. I think it's really good, even tense moments, and then you've got a release of tension, you know, but also musically, and it's done really well, I must admit. The animation is really good too. I enjoyed it a lot. They've got this style. It reminded me a lot about, well, I would say probably Arcane, actually. Not just the fighting elements, but the style itself reminded me of Arcane, the Netflix TV show. I mean, now that I think about it, would make sense. I mean, also made by Netflix, so maybe they sort of used some of those assets or the style or something like that. They were going for a sort of anime style, but also, I think that one of the interesting choices they made is the frames, they kind of reduced the frames a bit, which I thought was interesting. So the movements seem a bit slower, you know, in that sense, because there's like, at least that was my experience, not the full frames there. But at the same time, it really works when you've got combat going, because it's very nice and easy to follow everything, which I thought was great. There's a lot of humour in this film. It's a very funny film. They've got, at the start I wasn't too sure because some of the humour was a bit sort of haha, you know, you saw it coming from quite far away and it wasn't that funny, etc. As the film goes on, the humour, it stays, but it changes a wee bit. It became better in my opinion. Just generally speaking, it doesn't take itself too serious, which I thought was a really good move too. They're obviously jabbing fun at the K-pop genre as well, but it's sort of a bit tongue-in-cheek, etc. You know, it's not malicious or anything like that. You know, there's also sort of boy, girls and stuff. The girls themselves are not stereotypical, and there's a lot of humour with that as well, which I thought was great. So overall, it is very appealing. They've got a lot of great elements that they've combined here, not just the plot, which is cool, the music, the animation, the humour, it all goes together to make a really just good product. So props to Netflix, they've really done something very unique here, and I suppose it's already obvious at this point that they're going to make sequels, maybe make spin-offs, I don't know. As per usual with Netflix, I am definitely a fan of them when they produce things like these, which are of really high quality, and I wish that everything they had was of this high quality, you know, but it does seem that it's getting better. I do get the feeling of Netflix that they are improving their programming, so yes, I'm all for it. If you're a bit skeptical like me, just give it a try. It's not a very long film, you know, I am pretty sure that most people will find something in it that they'll like, you know, especially if you've got kids, teenagers, I'm sure they'll like a lot of this stuff in here. But overall, it's got a good message as well. I like sort of the emotional points that we have in the story. So it's also about identity, you know, who you are, how you behave in society, your friends, support systems, all these kind of things. So overall, I think it's just also got a very good message. So yeah, it's a very solid film, I would say, from start to finish. Like I say, definitely a recommendation from me. That'll be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about K-pop Demon Hunters, K-pop, anything you want to educate me on in terms of K-pop, please do. I always enjoy learning things, so why not? Even K-pop. Anything you want to say, put it down in the comments below. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Beamer. Take care, bye.